Jump, tuck, and roll, they'd said. It was only after I took a running leap off the moving train that I realized I had no idea how to execute that. In the split second of panic, as I hurled from the train to the building, my muscles did the only thing they could think of. I curled into a ball and threw my hands over my head as the roof rushed up to catch me. My landing was more of a splay than a roll as I crashed hip first onto the concrete. I moaned as the inertia shuddered through my bones. The skin on my right leg screamed, reminding me that the chemical burn I'd sustained this morning was fresh and festering. At least I was wearing thick jeans and long sleeves. I looked up and was privately gratified to find that my traveling companion hadn't nailed the landing either. Nick stared at his bloody palms and then brushed them off with a wince. "Can you walk?" he said as he struggled to do the same. "Yeah." I knew nothing was broken. My hip and thigh would probably just wear a bruise for the next decade. It would go nicely with the leg scars I was no doubt developing under the layers of bandages. I grasped the ledge and hauled myself up. I glanced over the edge of the roof and nearly vomited. Not because of the height, it was only 2 stories, but because of the headache that was ramming into my skull like a bull beating down a gate. This was the 3rd time this week that I'd taken a hard impact. It was a wonder I could still remember my name. I pinched my temples and reminded myself why I had jumped off a moving train. Nick and I had just been deported from the prison island of Rot to be questioned by the United for our various and sundry acts of rebellion. Except our train had been hijacked by friendly strangers who, assuming everything was still going to plan, were going to take us to a safe place. I looked up. 3 men were waiting on the roof. They were dressed like maintenance crew, in jackets with a forgettable company logo on the back. If anyone had seen them on the roof prior to our dramatic arrival, I don't think they would have thought anything of it. I could only hope the passing train had blocked our botched jump, tuck, and roll from any nosy passerby. "Come on," one of the strangers approached me. "We need to get you 2 out of sight." He grasped my arm. I was grateful for the guidance. My headache was blurring my sense of direction. He pulled me through the door and down the stairwell to a rear exit, where a windowless white service van was parked in the alley. Nick followed. "They told me we'd be taking the subway." "Change of plans." One of them rapped on the rear door of the van. "The subway's been compromised. Our connection didn't make contact, so we're going to have to slug it through rush hour." The doors opened, and a hand reached out of the shadows in the back of the van. I accepted the offer of help and let the faceless stranger pull me up and guide me into the corner, where I sank down against the wall. The van rocked as Nick joined us. The doors were slammed and latched without ceremony, plunging us into complete blackness. "Hang on," an unfamiliar voice said. There was a clatter, and then a weak light flickered on. Our chaperone held a flashlight that cast his features into sharp relief. I heard the cabin doors shut, and the engine revved to life. The diesel rumble made the whole van shake, and the shudder shot straight up my bones and into my head. I moaned as my headache roared. The whole world swayed, completely out of time with the rocking of the van as it jerked forward. Black spotted my vision. "You're going to pass out." The warning flared across my subconscious. I scooted away from the wall, buried my face in my knees, and closed my eyes. Breathe, breathe. I sucked in a shuddery breath and let it out, then pulled in another and another. "Hey, you good?" Against my better judgment, I lifted my head and looked up. Our escort leaned over me. He'd balanced the flashlight on a nearby crate, projecting its diffused light onto the roof of the van. "No," I managed, my slurred tone confirming my statement. "Here, this will help with the nausea." He held out a water bottle, the cap mercifully removed, and a small white pill. I squinted. "How did you know I was—" He raised an eyebrow. "You look like death."